Hey guys, um, it's another video, another crazy little random rambling of mine. Um, hope y'all doing all right today or tonight, whatever time it is you are watching this right now. It's 1 in the morning here, and I'm struggling to sleep again as usual. Um, Nothing new for me. It's typical. Don't expect much out of it, but anyway, I like to talk about Um, that's particular day. Because it's officially the day after Father's Day. Um, if my dad happens to come across this, hey, how you doing? Uh, love you, dude. um, yeah, this is a pretty interesting holiday in the sense that it's very much a butt of a joke, if you will, because um, the way today's society views fathers, in a sense, um, there's so much said the word father is taking so much of a hit, if you will, over the years. Um, it was a big deal to be a father, and not so much nowadays because of how things have played out in society over the years. Um, Especially in America, particularly. Um, it's either looked at as one of two ways. It's either, I should say, one of three ways. It's either highly appreciated that they are still around because, or that men have stepped up to the plate as fathers because of how how much of a lack there's been over the years. Kids growing up in single parent households where the main parent has been the mother because the father decided he wanted to be absent from the child's life. Um, is either hated on because you know the numbers of women out there who are raising kids by themselves. It's a very hated title because for some women it don't mean jack squat, and it either gets me jack squat to the point where it's ridiculed, which is the third view I say. It's like it's almost a joke to be the title of father is almost a joke because either fathers are, like I said, either underappreciated or they're they don't have any the title that hasn't lost any of its worth, so to speak, over years to the point where it's like it's ignored. It's like, father, what's that? Um, and it's understandable. I mean, I can't be mad at it because it I mean it's slightly justified. Some kids have had the misfortune of not having that male role in their household. to the point where women have had to take the role of both, man and woman. That's mainly the reason, probably the reason why, the way today's society looks at it, women are more appreciated when it comes to being caregivers as opposed to men, and they're more valued. Um, I mean, that's things more it's even sad to say to an extent. It's more of a biological thing that plays into that too. Just because biologically speaking, you know, women are more or less capable than most men are when it comes to raising kids. Not saying that men aren't capable of doing it, because there are single parents who are males who are raising kids, but it's kind of one of those things where it's almost kind of embedded in a woman's DNA to have that ability, in a sense, biologically speaking. Even though there are women who, which is kind of weird in a sense, but I mean, I know this for personal reasons. There are women who feel like they necessarily can't handle the responsibility of taking care of a child, which is why some women choose not to have them. But I know that I'm very appreciative of having a dad, of having parents who are together and been married for several long time, several years of it. I'm very appreciative of it for that reason. I could have been like many young black males my age who had the unfortunate circumstances of not having a father in my life, or having parents who are separated in some shape or form, whether they had the child out of wedlock and they never got married, or in some instance, or in others where they got divorced. And that's one of those things where I can, sit there and like, yeah, that's cool for me that I, have both of my parents. Then my dad is very present in my life. Um, I didn't always know how big of a deal that actually was nowadays, as opposed to probably before then, because it was just so normal for me to notice, like, I got both of my parents have a mom and dad. Every kid has that. At least that's how I thought at the time when I was a child. And then I came to realization afterwards that this wasn't the case. And my first real like grasp of this concept was probably when I first moved to Atlanta. And this is crazy to believe, but I had been around a lot of people, a lot of kids my age at that time who had stayed in households where they had both parents present, where there was a mom and a dad that were there around 24/7, 365 almost for those children. So I was somewhat naive to the fact because I'd never seen it. It was just completely utterly rare to me to see that. I thought that didn't exist, but I quickly became aware of this once I moved to Atlanta. Um, when you're young and black, and you're viewed stereotypically to have a lot of shortcomings in life, and in some cases it's not exactly true. Some kids had the good, some you know black black men and women have the good fortune of having the luxuries of somebody who might be white. I kind of got raised with some of those very luxuries that some on occasions I might have taken for granted. Um, I've had a good fortune of being raised in pretty nice, well neighborhoods that didn't, necessarily had to worry so much about crime and poverty and everything like that. Um, got spoiled a lot at Christmas time, which is unusual. Supposedly for my supposedly now as a brother, my race is like, you know, I got spoiled a lot. I mean, I wasn't like a spoiled brat, but I've had the luxuries of getting things that most kids my age at that time didn't get a chance to. I probably like one of the first kids on my block that had a Sega Genesis, and that's been in a school full of black and white kids, which is crazy to think, but it's true. I mean, I've had I've been fortunate and enough to be able to acquire luxuries that most black kids never got the chance to grow up with. That were born around the same time I was. So I'm very appreciative of having those. But the thing I really was never sure I should have been appreciative until that time was having parents in my life, and I really cherished them and loved them to death. But I never really knew how much it was important, how important it was, how great it was to actually have them until until we lived in Atlanta. There was a situation where I was in class one day, and I don't remember how or why the subject was brought up, but somebody had asked if kids, were living both with their mom and dad, and there wasn't many hands that went up. There was probably about a handful, probably maybe about three in that class of probably about 25. I think three or four hands maybe went up. It was a shocker to me. I had no clue that this had taken place. Um, this was me, being very naive to the situation. I thought for sure that, everybody had mom and dad that were around the house 24/7. I did. But me and the three kids that did raise hands were probably the only ones. Then I realized, okay, there was who lived in single parent households. And I said a lot of hands raised. A lot more than that first one. There were kids who were living with their moms and our dads. Mostly their moms when I found out afterwards. Because most of them didn't have dads around. Or they had parents where they were separated or divorced and they were living with their mothers. And that became the eye opener for me. Like, I was taken back. I was never expecting that. At that age, I assumed that everybody had a mom and dad, and everybody lived in the house with their parents. They were together and married, or anything like that. And that wasn't the case. And it's so weird because, I've had the good fortune of having parents like that, but I was actually born out of wedlock, which is unusual for most kids my age because some kids who are born out of wedlock usually don't have their parents together, and not for a very long time. Mm-hmm. I kind of one of those ones that kind of buck the rules in that sense. Um, but it kind of made me appreciate, having a parent around. It super made me appreciate my dad because then I learned at that point was most of them kids didn't have dads that stayed around in the household for a while. Most of them had bounced out. There were a few that I know whose parents died. Their father died, so they went fatherless for most of their childhood, and that's a hard pill to swallow for any kid at that age. To know your dad didn't get to see you graduate, didn't get to see you nothing before you see your firstborn child. It's crazy to think. It's a hard concept to grasp. For me at that time, I just didn't see that happen. There was no way that existed. But I learned that it did. And it made me appreciate my dad so much more than I did now. I mean, did back then. And I still do. I appreciate him a little bit more every day. Me and my dad don't necessarily see eye to eye on everything. Neither me nor my mom either. Um, they look at things a lot different than what I do. Or maybe it's vice versa. I look at the world a little bit different than what they do. But the thing about it is I get along with my dad very well. We can talk about a lot of things. We mostly like to talk about sports. But we talk about a whole bunch of other things, which is pretty cool. In my book. Most kids, don't get that kind of privileges. And we have been like that ever since. I mean, my dad was since he was the ex college football player, ex football player in high school and played a little bit in college. I mean, he was the guy that kind of got me into sports. He tried to push me into it, and I just kind of blatantly refused to do it. I mean, I don't regret it, but it'd been interesting if I tried it or something like that. I wouldn't know. I never know how my life would have turned out then. Probably been maybe a little bit more trusting of people than I usually am now, but yeah, it's whatever. I'm appreciative that he introduced me to it. He was also kind of responsible for me getting me into pro wrestling too. Now I'm just like a lifelong fan. Been watching since I was a kid, and he's partially to thank for it. Um, like I said, he was the one that taught me how to ride a bike. Kind of taught me to face my fears about it when it came to riding a bike. Still trying to get me to face my fears with a lot of things in life that I'm still struggling to face, but I'm trying to take on head on. But I'm thankful for that, and I hope to God that the men of my generation kind of step up to that plate and that responsibility of being fathers. I mean, it's kind of hard to believe in that sense that that'll happen because most of them are already taking that route where it's like, yeah. I mean, I know a few that are stepping up to the plate and being there. And those guys, I got mad respect for them. Those guys definitely need credit because they're guys that just walked out. I mean, I know I have friends who are single parents, female friends that dads aren't around to see their kids grow and become you know possible leave them breathing responsible citizens in society. They'll never get to see, all the stuff and they just walk away from it. I mean, I'm hoping one day, I'll get to have kids. I envy my brother for that sense. I mean, he's been a dad for 3 years. So, I kind of envy where he's at in that sense. I mean, I like my nephew. He's cool. The kid is very cool. A little bit like his dad, which kind of, scares me a little bit, but he's pretty cool. And, you know, he kind of made me look forward to having kids at some point. And it's crazy to think, too, because I'm still sketchy about that. Because I'm sketchy that, I'll have the fortune or misfortune, I don't know how you want to look at it, twist it, of having a daughter. That part kind of scares me. I think I can maybe possibly handle a son and probably take care of him and maybe turn into a smart and caring and intelligent and respectful young man in society. I'm hoping. I think I'm up to that challenge and I think I can handle that too much. But raising a daughter scares the hell out of me. Uh, I mean, if I ever have a kid, I will step up to the plate. I will take that responsibility. Like, yeah, I'm a dad and I'm raising this little girl. But that terrifies me more than anything. Is the knowing you have to be the responsible adult for a young woman, somebody you trying to raise them to be a young woman. It, uh, a scary thing, especially in this world, in this day and age, in this society, where it's like women are. See, there were plenty of women that are afraid to even walk out their own doors because of what society is pretty much, you know, put on them. And the pressures of society that it's already slapped on women is already difficult enough. And that's the last thing I want is my daughter to have to go through that. If I have one, if you will. I mean, I hardly know what that's gonna happen, what the future has in store for me, but it's a scary thought. It's a very, very scary thought. You know that um, raising a young woman. I mean, it's a task I want to take on head first, but it's like that thought just gives me kind of shaking. Well, um, I'm looking forward to that one day possibility of having kids. It'd be nice. I mean, I want to be that dad and teach them everything I've known and learned over the years. Um, Main thing, I just want my kids to be themselves, no matter what the situation. I want them to be the best person they can be. I don't want to force my whole ideas, beliefs, beliefs and everything, but I want to teach them everything I've known and learned over the years about life, and hoping they grasp it and soak it in, and take everything they need to take from me, so they can make it out in today's society. Cause it's rough. I mean, but it's still improving. But like I said, it's task I'm willing to take on once it gets here. Not sure when the time will be, but when it gets here, I'll be ready for it. I think. Um, Cause really, you're never really ready, but you're ready. If that makes sense. Um, like I said, to dads out there that's doing their thing right now, um, keep it up. Don't stop. Uh, Set that example for your son and daughter constantly. Um, for the women who raising their kids right now without their dudes who aren't present. Y'all keep it up. Keep it up, especially the ones that's raising sons. Um, that's gonna be a difficult task for you. Make sure he's ready for the world and can handle everything like that, and knows how to treat a woman because he's learned from you. But keep that up, definitely. You know, stay strong, stay tough, and you know, keep your daughter strong and support them 100% on whatever they want to do, and let them be, make sure just let your kids be them. You know, um, for the ones who stick around even with through a marriage, definitely more power to y'all guys. Um, you guys are definitely giving me some kind of hope that you know, a family is possible. A strong one, mother, father, husband, wife, children, y'all give me that faith. I mean, that's one thing I really want in my life. And as long as y'all keep sticking together, I'll have reassurance that that can happen for me. To dads who aren't around, you're missing out on uh, because you decide you want to be irresponsible and everything. Um, you're missing out on a lot. You're missing out on some good years. You're missing out on a chance to have a steady, strong influence in that child's life. Um, wish I would be there for him because when I realized how very important my parents are, that kind of settled in how important it is for me to be a parent once that time comes. I wish I would, be around, stick around to see y'all kids grow. For the life of me, I don't know why y'all not, but it's your decision. Who am I to tell you what to make that decision on? But anywho, like I said, comes to raising kids, step up, be a man, step up to the plate. That's like one of my biggest things right there that I want to leave y'all with. Um, because you never know what kind of wonders you can do as a parent and how much influence you can have on a kid's life, past, present, and future. But I probably gonna sign off and wish y'all good night. If I haven't said it already, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there who's doing their thing, been doing their fatherly job. Um, happy Father's Day to mine. Hope you enjoyed your gifts and your day. Um, and y'all have a good time. I'll probably do another video soon. Good night.